Good evening and welcome to my TikTok Live. I'm Artful Roger. Today is May 21st, 2024. It is 7 p.m. Eastern Time here in beautiful, lovely Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to part 3 of our clock case upcycle. That's what we're doing here. Got a couple of clock cases here behind me that we've done in the past. I'm going to have the crew joining here in just a moment as people get on board. But we'll get started with this latest project that we're working on. If you're catching me here live on TikTok, this is in real time. If you're catching me on YouTube, this has already happened. So you're getting a peek at the past. You're actually going back in time. Today is, like I said, May 21st. Let's see who's joining us. Lolo has joined. Debbie Place. Garrett, crew member Garrett has arrived. Garrett, thank you for being here. Those of you who are new to the Artful Roger experience, I guess is what we'll call it, welcome. Hang around for a little bit. We'll get started here in a minute. We've got folks here that have been a part of this. Mississippi is here. Tori, welcome. So glad you're here. That's awesome. Guys, I appreciate you letting me know where you are too. That really is awesome. Yvonne, thank you for being here. And thank you for that wonderful message this afternoon, full of really good nuggets of information, which I'm going to share one with the crew here in just a minute once we get up and started. Yeah, one of the things I want to say to the crew, and we'll say it now, we've got 78 people or so in here. I'd like for this live to get pushed out to the For You page. And so in order for that to happen, we need to get to 10,000 likes within the first 10 minutes of the live, which means all you have to do to help get the live pushed to the For You page so more people can experience this is just by tapping the screen. And just tap, 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 send those hearts up. You'll see the count is going up. We're already at 237. It goes really fast if all of us are doing it. I'm not asking for people to get finger cramps. Groovy. Oh my goodness, Groovy. Groovy is here. Yes, Groovy, you caught it early. I'm glad you're here. And I'm actually showing up on a Tuesday night, which is really unusual for me. Emmett loves me and loves you too. I know you from my comments. Iowa, I did not know you were in Iowa. Emmett, that's what I'm going to call you. Emmett must be your partner or someone else in your life that's significant. Donna, welcome. Henry, I'm so glad you're here. Joni, this feels like an old episode of Romper Room. I don't know if you're that old. I'm 60, but I watched Romper Room when I was like 6 years old, and I loved the part where she got out the magic mirror, and it was just basically a circle with a handle on it, and she looked into it, and she would say names, and she would act like she could see you, and I just waited and waited for her to say Roger. She never said Roger. I don't know that she said my sister's name either, which is Rhonda, and I don't think our names were ever called. Thank you, Catherine. Yes, and this is yet another one of the shirts. Romper Room, exactly. You know what? That's what this should be called, Romper Room. We should just rename this, and I could wear rompers, and we could just call it Romper Room. It's an entirely different kind of life. Yeah, the shirt is awesome. This is a person who does not want me to call them out, but this was sent to me as a gift, and this has become part of the live now, is wearing these Hawaiian shirts, which are on Amazon if you're interested. I forget the name, but if she's here, she'll definitely tell you. St. Louis. Yes, thank you for telling me that you're in St. Louis. That's awesome. Yeah, you're not ready to see me in a romper. That is absolutely true. I'm not ready to see me in a romper, for sure. So what we're doing here tonight, and this live may go on for usually about an hour or so. We'll get to the hour mark and I'll probably be exhausted. But what we're doing is we're upcycling a clock case. And a clock case is a wooden box like this one that you can see here that typically has a clock in it. That's why we call it a clock case. We're dealing with cases that are empty, that no longer have a clock in them. And I buy these at different places. I buy them on eBay. They're empty. I know some of you are kind of, okay, so hot. Yes, your name I can't even say on my live because it's going to be on my YouTube channel, but everyone else who can see your name knows it's my blank stank. So, gotta love it. Gotta love it. So, what I wanted to get back to the clock cases, I've been criticized because I'm driving up the price of clock cases. My apologies because it's happening. But these clock cases are empty and they have nothing in them. So we're working on them. I want to show you guys, since you're new here, those of you who have not seen what we're doing, we are working on the third of 3. We've already done the first 2, and they're 3 different porcelain figures, women, that are from the 1950s. And so this is the first one we did. This is the crew here named her Julene. Chipper Doodle, Chipper has entered the chat. This is the first one we did. This is Julene, as they named her, with her chandelier inside. So we haven't seen her in a while. She has what we call the penthouse, because this is a very small space. And yes, you're not hallucinating. It is a Christmas-themed box. It absolutely is, because we started working on these in January, and I am determined to finish number 3, which we're getting there. But I'm showing this so you kind of see where we go. This is the actual end product. So this is Julene. Audra, thank you. Audra, where are you located? Where's Home Sweet Home? What state are you in? And I appreciate the call out. Gay and May. Yes, Gay gave these shirts names. And Gay, you're welcome to share those names. I forget what the name of this one is. You probably know right off the top of your head. Texas. All right. Awesome. Hopefully you're not in that part of Texas that got flooded and wind and everything else. It's crazy down in Houston. I think of the southeast section, but I wish you well. Slop Jar. Here you are. Okay. I'm going to put this back. So I've made some fantastic progress during the week, guys. Are you ready to see what's happening? Oh, let me get back to some housekeeping. We need to get, guys, see, in order to get this live pushed out to the For You page, which is a lot more people will actually be able to see it and get involved in this, we need to get to 10,000 likes if we can within the first 10 minutes. We're already at 6,100. Just keep tapping the screen as you like it so there's hearts up. If everybody does it, we'll get there really quick. So I appreciate that, just so it pushes it out. Here's what I've done with the clock case. All right, drum roll. You know that we painted the inside. We picked out the carpet for the interior. Here are the electrical switches that, electrical switches are there now. But here it is. I painted the columns white. What do you guys think? So this is just the face of it. The lions are back on. Chipper, I know you didn't like those too much. You're getting carpal tunnel. Oh my goodness. Groovy, you're what, like 30 years old? You've got a long way to go. So what do you think of this? Okay, Chipper, you're loving it. Hey, Tony, welcome. So yeah, I think the columns look really good white. So yes, so did this, because you know that our girl, Judine, is going to have a very upscale experience going on. Okay, so yeah. Did someone say Bridgerton? Did I see Bridgerton fly by? I think I did. Anyway, let me show you what I did. So all of them have a little cupola on top. We've done this one here. This one has a cupola. I took an old candle holder and some other parts, and I made this little cupola. When I made it look with a clock hand off of an old clock, I made it look like a weather vane. And so this is going to be, it goes like this. This is going to be, I'm going to be putting that on there later, but that's going to be her cupola. So I think that goes really well with the rest of the theme. It's very upscale looking, which I love. Guys, thank you, 9.7, 9.8. We're getting there. So as soon as we get to 10, you can just go, ooh, thank you. We'll do it in the first 10 minutes. Is awesome. Tony, I'm absolutely sure. Here's the deal. Tony said, I'd rather see your garden live, and then said, LOL, kidding. No, you're not kidding. You're serious. Because I can tell you, if I take this phone outside into the yard right now and start doing a live, there'll be 200 people on this live. This is just not something people are doing right now, but I am determined, hook or by crook, I'm going to finish this. The crew is involved in this, so I just feel bad working on it without them being present. So I come down here and get some of the dirty work done when they're not around. But anyway, so there's the cupola. Let me show you what else I did. Drum roll for this. Here is Henry's drapery, and the wallpaper has been installed. I made an executive decision, and here it is. That's her wallpaper and her curtains and her window installed. And it looks a little crooked, but it's not. It looks like it's a little over, but it's fine. Yeah, Audra, this idea, it's a long story. But yeah, it's just something. You're on break. Okay, we just have you for a minute. So you like her wallpaper. Me too. So I'm going to put that in the back. Hopefully you guys can see in there. Yeah, you can kind of see how it looks. Now this is wallpaper for a dollhouse, so it's really to scale. So it's got a lot of pink in it. The other option, this was the other option, which I thought was too busy. So once I put it in there, I thought this looked more like Judine, but it didn't look like it, even though that is her personality, in my opinion, it was a little bit too busy. So I opted not to use it. I went with the roses instead. And FYI, this is our girl right here. This is Judine. This is the house that we're building right now, the pink house. So the house that the pink lady lives in. So there's that. Let me show you what else I did. Can you guys see her? There she is. Do you remember the chair and the sofa? They were blue. They're metal. They were made in 1981 or something like that. They were kids' toys. I painted them. Drum roll. Here we go. There's her new furniture. What do you guys think? I painted it a cream, chalk paint white, and then gave it gold wood. So very upscale looking in my opinion. You know, it's very castle-like. Again, this woman she's a woman of independent means. She wants for nothing. She takes care of herself. And so, yeah, so she's got exactly, fancy is what it is. So she's got that. This is her vase. This will be going in there too. This tiny thing I found at a junk store for like $1. Wait a minute. No, the other one, there's two. This one was $1, and this one was $5. The person at the checkout couldn't believe that I was going to pay $5 for this thing. But look at it. It's porcelain. It's vintage. It's made in occupied Japan. It is the real deal. That's going in her living room. So that's going to be a floor vase in her space. And she's getting a dog. And I made an executive decision on the dog. This is her dog. I don't know if you guys can see the dog. So that's her little dog. And the reason I went with this dog is because it's sitting down. It's going to be looking at the Christmas tree that it should be here this week. So that's why I made an executive decision. The Scotty, this poor sweet Scotty, still has not found a home. I'm not in love with the way this dog's shape is. He's standing up. I prefer him sitting because he would seem more relaxed. Thank you, Audrey. You may mention that. Yes, and Sandlot. Don't forget. Yes, I get that all the time. I sound like the narrator from Wonder Years and from and Sandlot. And there's somebody else they mentioned. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, thank you, Chicky. Yes, I think the colors on the sofa and the chair, much better, much more upscale. I'm going to go ahead and set those things inside so you guys can see what it looks like real quick. Flip it around. Kind of do the arrangement. This is the part where you can't see what I'm doing. There's still so many little details to be ironed out in here, but it's really coming together. I'm going to put her vase in there. And like I said, we still haven't received the Christmas tree, so we're still waiting on that. Let's see if I can show you guys. I should have had lights in here already so that we could have at least seen inside, but I think you get the idea. It's like a really beautiful living room scene in there with her dog. So once the Christmas tree is in there and the other lights are in there, that'll look really good. The chandelier arrived today. This is her chandelier. The light bulbs got a little bit smushed, but there's the chandelier. You see the light bulbs are pushed over. Crazy. I mean, they're not really damaged. It's just that they need to be straightened, but I'll fix those later. But anyway, you get the idea. So that is the chandelier that she's going to have in there. This thing is going to look amazing. It's 12 volt illuminated, so that'll be... I know, Chipper, you're holding out for a staircase. Don't hold too long, because it may be a while. I need a larger clock case. Maybe I need to get like a grandfather's clock or something and build inside that. Something huge. Oh yeah, something else I did. And I'm going to get your opinion about this. I'm going to take the back off. I'm going to remove the furniture and our girl. Come back to that later. So I took an old door that was out of scale and I cut it down like this to make a paneled wall out of it. And I'm using it actually on one end. So I'm going to show you what this looks like because I've got a question. It's going in, let's see, there it is. You see how it looks like, a wall panel on the end? And that's going to be right near the window and by the drapery. My question for you guys, should I leave it the cream white that it is, or should I paint it a shade of green? I was thinking either a lighter green or some sort of darker green that's in this wallpaper. So should the wood panel be white like the window trimming, or should it be, what do you think about me painting it a green color? Green or white on the paneled wall? Anybody have an opinion? There's the paneled wall right there. It looks terrible here because you can see this ugly part, but when you look through the hole, God, this is so turned around. There it is. You can't see that part. White, white, white. Everybody's white. So no color. Okay, good. I was thinking of some light colored green or something because that's kind of on trend to paint wood paneled walls a color, but I'm not going to do it because I was leaning towards the white too. You can see it in there. See how it looks? It looks sort of like a sliding door as well. So it could be a pocket door. You know, that she comes in from another room in there. Yeah, guys, thanks for tapping. I appreciate it. We are at 15-2, so I think we're fine, and we aren't even, yeah, I think we made it. I think we actually got it, so we're good. So, yes, there we go. We've decided we're going to keep it white. The other thing I did, I made some art for above the sofa. Now, we're not married to this. I'm married to the frame, but I'm not married to what's in it. And I tried to make this look like an old painting. What do you guys think of that? It's pink and some grays that I think look pretty good with our wallpaper. What do you guys think of this piece of art? That's going to be above the sofa. Oh, say, okay, I got a beautiful. I got a yep. I got a pretty. I got a perfect. I got a yes from Teresa Griffin. Donna, very nice. Anybody going to give me a fabulous? Come on, let's have one. All right, so let me tell you, thank you, okay? I think, yeah, the reason I can't do it, Henry, here's the deal. And Henry, consider yourself cyber hugged because you always have the best input. So here's the deal. There's the sofa that it's going to be above. And if you run it this direction, two things. I think it's too big for the sofa, one. And number two is, this is a little frame that Chipper sent to me, I think. Chipper, I think this was from you, I believe. It had a little tab on the back so you could set a picture up. You know, it's like to put on your nightstand. You see it's flat here and pointed there. Because of that, it looks weird like this. Because it doesn't match on both ends. Chipper, you did send me this. Yeah, I think it was silver. I painted it gold. And it had glass in it, I think. So that's why I'm doing it that way, Henry, because of the scale of the sofa that it's going to be above like that. And trust me, it looks great because over here is where the Christmas tree is going to be in that area. So, and there's a small table going next to it. So this, I cut out of a catalog. It is actually a table centerpiece of peonies on a table inside of a chinoiserie vase. A vase is what I guess is what you say, because it costs more than $50, so it's not a vase, it's a vase. And I took a matte poly finish, sprayed it, and then I went over it with an eraser on a pencil. I took a pencil eraser like this and just erased over it till I made it look rough and kind of like a painting. So it took away the photograph look and made it look more like a yeah, there's going to be some mirrors in there, Gay May. I've already ordered the plexi mirror. The end where the Christmas tree is, and part of that, all of that wall is going to be mirrors on that end so that the tree is reflected back and we see a lot of stuff. Good. Foster, yes, this is a gift from Gay and May. Gay and May didn't want me to say that, but I said it anyway because you can't control me, Gay. You cannot control me. I cannot be controlled. I cannot be controlled. Not from there, I can't. So yeah, that is what's going to happen there. So there was something else that's new. So the artwork's new. Oh, I know. All right, let's go back to the sofa. You guys can see the sofa. There it sits. I have these tiny little Queen Anne tables. I think they're out of scale, though. All right, I want you to look at this and tell me. Don't you agree that that table is not the same scale as the sofa? That's too small, correcto? I'm waiting for anyone to answer. I mean anyone. It's too small. Thank you, user 617. Yes, it is too small. All right. So I've got this. And it is, of course I say I've got this and I don't have it. Yvonne, turn away. I don't have what I need on hand. Here it is. I've got this table, which is it's a wooden table, very simple. I think the scale works. I think it's fine. But the dark color is my question. So if I'm to paint that little table, which I think that's the one I'm going to use, what do you think about, should it be dark or should it be cream white like the sofa upholstery? Or something else? Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. Okay, different color. So Husker Kathy's saying light green. Okay, hang on, Husker. So let's get this. So this is how it's going to be right there. The tables go in there. So there's that. The art will be here like this. There's the art. So that'll be there. You guys are good. I'm seeing green. All right, so hold your horses. You got this. So hang on one second. Got gold. Hold on. I haven't shown you the lamp yet. This is the lamp that's going on the table. So it is green and pink and has a white globe up under it. So that is going to be on this table. So the lamp is green, gold, and pink. All right. Watch this lamp take a tumble off the top of this thing. Okay, here we go. All right, there's the lamp. Can you guys see that crap? Here we go. Yeah, let me lift that up a little higher. I can only do so many things. Yeah, I agree, Emmett. So there's the gold lamp with the green and pink in it. So I think if we paint the table gold, we're going to have too much gold going on. So light green, I got another light green. So paint the table a light green. I think the cream, there's already too much cream going on in there, so I don't think I want to do cream. I was kind of stumped on it. But yeah, I agree. I think light green, we've got the dark green curtains going on down the way from it. But we could go light green. I could pull a green out of here. And there's plenty of green in there to pull from, lots of leaves and different shades of pink and all sorts of color in there. Yeah, Scott, I agree. Too much gold and too much cream. So we're gonna not paint the table. That's why I was thinking of leaving the table dark. But I'm gonna work on a light green. Okay, that helps. That's awesome. No. The tree is gonna be, it's a bead tree made of beads. It's going to be gold. They're gold beads on silver wire. And the ornaments, these are the ornaments. Again, these things read as chartreuse. They're not chartreuse. I don't know why it looks like that on the screen, but these I will turn into ornaments. These beads will be on a gold tree. And this chandelier will be hanging right in the middle, right above our girl. So that's our chandelier. Whoop, right there. Chandelier's about right in that space there. So that's what that's going to look like with the sofa and all that. So I agree with you guys. I think I'm going to play with light green on the table. And if the light green doesn't read correctly or read right exactly in the room, we'll paint it dark green. I'm going to go with green no matter what, I think. But I do think that's going to look pretty good. This lamp is pretty awesome. This is a really beautiful piece that this guy made. A lot of people make this miniature stuff in Illinois for some reason. That must be what they do for fun in Illinois. And by the way, looks really good with our girl. Looks really good. I make art skins that if you had tiny miniature picture frames would go in and look like an art piece. Yeah, I'm sure of that. So you make things that would go in a tiny frame like this, it would look like real art. I mean, because it is real art. I'm guessing. I need to Google what art skins are and see what that is. Okay, Michelle, I've seen people doing this that make these tiny pieces that look like oil paintings and things like that, which would be beautiful. Teresa, I find the clocks all over the place. This thing started, this was the very first clock case I found at an antique store in Charleston, South Carolina. It was like $35. Junk. I mean, junk. It was just an empty case. It has none of this. All of this I have to add, the feet and the different details. I'm sorry, I would take that back. This one came from Charleston. Not that it matters. But just take it. I found one in an antique store to answer your question. And you can find others on eBay as well. That's another place to find them. But I paint them all. They come out. When I first get them, they look like this. This is one that nothing's been done with it yet. This is going to be a Halloween themed clock case, and I don't mean jack-o'-lanterns and witches and all that stuff. This is going to be a romantic Halloween clock case is what I mean. So it's going to be about a ghost. It's a ghost story, but it's going to be a romantic ghost story. And you can see it already looks like a haunted house, and we're leaving it like this. I'm just going to clean it, and then I'm going to seal it with polyurethane, but that's about all that's going to happen to the exterior. And then it's going to get a new bezel. And speaking of bezels, this is our bezel for this one. So I'm going to be putting that on here. That's the bezel. So you can see that's how this thing is going to look when it's finished. So that just arrived. This arrived today from eBay, and I had to paint the outer part. It was really badly damaged, so I painted it gold. Yeah, this is great. This is going to look really good. So I have the screws for that. So yeah, I've been busy down here. I took a couple of days off last week from work so that I could work on this stuff, kind of get it ready so that we can make some progress, so we can get off of these Christmas themed clock cases when it is May 21st in the middle of garden season. But I've been putting a lot of videos up about gardens and so forth, so it's helpful. I wanted to say something too while I've got you guys on here. You may have noticed, oh, Tim is here? I missed it. Oh, there he is. Tim, welcome. We were just talking about your Christmas tree, Tim. It has not yet arrived, but I'm guessing it'll be here in a couple of days. Looking forward to seeing it. But I wanted to tell you guys, the video I did this afternoon, around 4 o'clock, I think I posted it. It is about my friend Iris, who died in 2016. And she was my neighbor. And I posted the vegetable garden that the vegetable garden was on our side and the flower garden was on her side. So we put the pathway on the lot line between our two houses, because her side was the north-facing side of her house, and our side was the south-facing side of ours. So we had the sun for vegetables. She had the shade for hydrangeas and things like that. Part of the reason I posted that today is because I call them barkers in the comments. They're barkers. You guys probably don't see the barking because I read my comments like religion. They're all read. And if there's crappy comments or negativity, I delete. I will respond to correct. But if they're ugly, I delete. And if the person circles back to get ugly again, they'll get blocked. So I've been doing this all along, keeping my comments clean. But one of the barks that comes up quite often, and I think I've only deleted one where it got nasty, is they're telling me that my gardening's a waste of time because it's ornamental gardening and there's no food. So I posted that to show, one is I grow food. I have grown food in the past, and I don't grow food in my garden currently here because I don't want to fence my yard in, and we have deer. And I already tried to grow tomatoes. We already put eggplant out. We did this in year one. We didn't know any better. And so we planted a vegetable garden immediately, and only to have the plants beautiful. They were beautiful, but the deer would come and nibble off the produce as soon as it was nearing ripening. So you had an eggplant that was right at the point of ripening. Either the deer ate it or a raccoon ate it. Something came along and ate it. So that's why I do ornamental gardening and not vegetable gardening. And now you know about barking. And I did have a guy today who made a snarky comment, and I deleted it. And he must have circled back a week later to see what kind of responses he got off his snarky comment, and he noticed it was gone. So he said in the comments, I guess you delete negative comments. I said, yes, I do delete negative comments. And I said, if you circle back again and get nasty, you will never see me again. So I'm just telling you that there's a lot of barking that goes on in those comments that people don't get to see. By and large, there'll always be a barker. Yeah, I call them people who like to pee-pee. It's like they just have to pee-pee. It's like there's nothing here to pee-pee on, but no one's pee-peeing, but you're going to be the one that pee-pees. You're going to find the one thing to pee-pee about. So it's annoying. But by and large, 99% of the comments on my page are positive, and people are super supportive, and not of me. They're just sharing stories. Like the story about Iris, my neighbor, which was my surrogate mother of sorts. People are able to post their stories about their neighbors and people in their lives that they shared gardening with that were special to them. And I love that. I love that it becomes an homage page or a place to do that. Thank you, Catherine. Catherine said I was inspiring, so I'm just reading that for you too. Yeah, some people just want to argue. They absolutely do, that girl. They certainly do. And Bridget, I see Bridge. That's where I saw Bridgerton. Bridget loved my Iris story. And I'm reading these comments because this gets posted on YouTube and people can't see the comments. And I get those comments on YouTube saying, thank you for reading the comments. So they know. Yeah, Michelle, lots of armchair critics. They absolutely are. And what I say is, if you don't like what I post and you want to tell people that using medium slate chips in your pathway is going to cause you to trip, and your grandchild's going to cut their head on the edging that I use, which was also stated, then start a TikTok and make it all about the dangers of medium slate chips and metal edging in your garden. That's what I would say. I've had metal edging in my garden for 20 years, and I have grandkids, and no one has ever tripped and fallen on it. Knock on wood. Got to find some wood around here, but no one has. Thank you, Yvonne. Yvonne said the garden is beautiful and relaxing to look at. It absolutely is, and hopefully this evening I'll be able to get back out there and do a little bit of walking around and videoing and thinking about another story to share. Something old and moldy. Yes, so that girl says you can be the juiciest peach in the world and there'll be someone who hates peaches. That is pretty much how it goes. For whatever reason, thankfully, I have not fallen into the dark side of TikTok. Only one of my videos I think ever went in that direction, and it was about grass. It was about I have a clover lawn in the backyard, but my front yard, when we purchased the house, already had a monoculture zoysia lawn installed, which cost, as you know, a lot of money to the person who built this house, and it has an irrigation system on it and everything. So it has not died or anything, so I'm just maintaining it. But I went through a phase where there's a lot of criticism about having a monoculture lawn like that because it's manicured and it's out of fashion and all that. For a bit, those videos went into the dark side, and they went into an ugly place for a little while. And I came back out of that, thankfully. But you want to talk about having a carpal tunnel from your fingers deleting comments. I deleted a lot of comments during that time. The path is finished. Exactly, it is, Catherine. The looping path is finished. The next project that's coming, there is a company in Illinois. Again, I have so many artist people in Illinois making stuff for me, but there's a company there that makes fencing, garden fencing. They're a welding shop, and it's what it looks like, but they make garden fencing that looks like old fencing from a cemetery. That's kind of what it looks like. That's how I would describe it. It arrives at your house already kind of rusted looking, and it's got the little pointy things on it and the arches and all that. It's kind of cool. And I've been looking at it for 5 years and finally pulled the trigger on it. But they're making a run of it. I think it's 40 feet in that garden in the back where you see the new pathway I put in. There's a 5 foot. Yeah, it's 5 feet tall for about 40 feet, and then there's 2 3-foot sections on each end. So I'm kind of doing that as a visual block to the back of that garden. So that's coming. That should be shipping here pretty soon. I'm putting a railing on the lower part of the pathway because there's a retaining wall there of timbers, and they're pressure-treated timbers. And what happens is when I have people, they come to visit, because it's a drop-off of about 2 feet, it's a little unnerving, and I notice people get unsteady, so I'm putting in a rail there, a handrail, so that as you walk along, you can grab the rail if you want to grab the rail. I have some older people that come up for brunches and things like that, and they always want to stroll in the garden. That's the one thing I notice is there's a little bit of unsteadiness in that spot, so I'm putting a railing. That's coming. And finally, as I have my poo-poo of the mouth tonight, I am putting together the beginnings of a stream feature, a water feature, which is like a 25-foot stream that I'm going to install there next to one of the pathways as well. All of these things, I want to say, they've been in my mind for the last 5 years since we've lived in the house, but I've been distracted by other things, or COVID came along and I couldn't get any supplies or anything like that, and I've just tabled it, and then I thought, I'm too old, I don't feel like doing it, and I finally said to myself this year, expand the garden. It doesn't matter if you're here 10 more minutes on the planet. Get the stuff done. You might as well do it, or unalive yourself trying, as they say. I can't say any other words but you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to do it. Hey, Nerds and Bones! Nerds and Bones, where have you been? Thank you for the gifts, nerds. Guys, you see Nerds and Bones. That's not this person's name. I have no earthly idea, but we have a relationship based on Nerds and Bones. Gay in May, we do not get trick-or-treaters in our neighborhood. The first year, I think we had 0. The second year, we had 1. Then the third year, we went somewhere. We had the cameras on. This house is loaded with cameras, and there's a camera on the front porch. And of course, a man shows up at our driveway with this little girl in the cutest little ballerina outfit, and they're ringing the doorbell. We're not home, and we leave the lights on. So the poor things are ringing the doorbell and ringing it, and it's like, nobody's coming. So I had to turn away from the camera. I can't watch this. But of course, we stayed home the next year and nobody came again. So we don't get trick-or-treaters. Husker, thank you for liking that story about Iris. Yes, she was pretty awesome. The thing about Iris, the neighbor, is that she and I lived together. Lived next door to each other for I think 10 years at least before some things started to change. And she was becoming free enough because she was a teacher in a preschool, and she was getting free enough where she could work in the garden, and I was in a place where I could work with her. So we were just beginning to have that relationship, and I loved that woman. I loved Iris. I remember accidentally saying that out loud. I took her this giant poinsettia for Christmas one year, and I handed it to her, and I said, "I love you, Iris," and it just flew out of my mouth, and my face was purple and red, and it just was one of those moments, that I just blurted out that I loved her. But when we finally got to do the gardening, which was only 2015, that was it, and it was glorious. That year was, I think, the garden. Everything in that garden, even she had hydrangeas growing against her house on her side that were her mother's, that she had moved from Tifton, Georgia, back when they moved in the house in the 70s. And that year, those things were gorgeous. They were beautiful. Everything just really was amazing. And then the next year, she came over. I remember she got out of her car, and I saw her. So I walked over, and she said, "I've got some news." And she said, I've got whatever this cancer was, she said, and of course, I must have turned ghost white because my mom got diagnosed, and then that was it. It was all she wrote. And she said, no, it's fine. It's going to be okay. She said, it's going to, the prognosis is really good and all that. And, I don't know if she was trying to make me feel better or what, because in the end, it went really fast. It was fast. But that's life. And then I had to live with the grief, of that. And we moved here, I think a couple of years after Iris passed away, we moved to this house. And that garden, by the way, at that house, that garden that you saw, the vegetable garden, is gone because the new neighbors that moved in did what people do. They scraped Iris's garden away. They literally hooked chains to the hydrangeas and pulled them out of the ground and put them into a pile and burned them. I watched all this happen, and they scraped the garden at the lot line and put up a privacy fence between our two houses. So that was gone. Strange part of the story. On our side of this privacy fence that they put in, so where the vegetable garden had been, and they tore out all the metal edging and scooped up all the gravel and everything. But where our vegetable garden had been, it became, this is where I'm going to get emotional, on its own, became the most amazing scatter garden of wildflowers I think we'd ever seen. We were out there taking pictures of it all the time. It was just this beautiful 4 o'clocks and daisies and zinnias and all this stuff just growing on our side behind the fence by itself. It just was so beautiful, and it didn't require anything from us at all, but it just did it on its own. And I looked at it like perhaps it's a sign, that I don't know. I don't know what happens when we pass, but maybe she was letting me know in some way. Which reminds me of another story when my dad passed away in the same year. My dad died in the summer, and Iris died in December. And after my dad passed away, sometime a day later, and back then I was still doing my Bencliffe Designs, which is my art business, and I was in my workshop, which was open to the outside. And for some reason, I was thinking about my dad, I think, or something, and I walked out of my workshop, and I sat down outside on the doorstep going into my workshop. And when I sat down, this brown butterfly, and I don't know what they're called. They're not a real butterfly. They look like between a moth and a butterfly, but they're brown and they have orange on them. It landed on my leg, and I watched it, and I kind of put my hand near it, and it flew up, and then it flew back down. It stayed with me for 10 minutes, probably why I sat there. It just stayed on my leg. It just hung out, and it felt like if any butterfly my dad was going to be any butterfly. It'd be a brown butterfly, of course. It wouldn't be anything too bright and too flashy. It would be brown. And so it reminded me of him. And it was probably a day or so later, I was in my office in the house, and I have a subscription to Harper's Magazine. Don't judge. I love Harper's. I've been subscribing to Harper's for years and years. And I had left, for some reason, Harper's was open, I think, to a page. And it was a message from a father to a son about forgiveness. It was a little blurb. If you know Harper's, you know there's excerpts from books and such in there. And there was this message. So I don't understand what we're in. I don't know what this is, this electromagnetic moment that we're having here that we call life, you know. But when people pass, it seems to me that there's a lot of people have stories and things that happen and little things. You really have to just be aware. And that's how it was with Iris, you know, in that garden. As much as it hurt me to see the garden scraped away, the garden came back on its own, you know. So it's pretty special. Yeah, thank you, Husker and Lori. Did everybody leave the chat? Everybody left alive? I look back down, it's like, you have 0 people. You are so long-winded. Everyone left alive. Yeah, it's funny because her daughter, that girl, said maybe plant a patch of iris flowers. I do have irises here, but her daughter lived, they don't live here anymore, they moved to Florida, but they lived here in the area as well. And her daughter was in contact with me, and she had an iris that bloomed in the fall. And it was purple, and it was after her mom. It was the same thing. I think it bloomed. Yes, it bloomed in August because Iris's birthday was in August, and it would bloom on the birthday. And it was like, and she would text me a picture of it. You know, she did for several years after she passed. I would hear from her, but they moved, so I haven't heard from that. But you had to go get some strawberry shortcake. Gosh, I wish I had some of that. Yeah, thank you for Shellsy Bells. Yeah, she's saying popped in for that beautiful story. Yeah, just the little things of life. But yeah, that is my story of Iris, and I really tried to find a picture of her today when I did the video. I wanted to overlay a photo of her in there. I have one of me and her together. I looked and looked and looked, and I even said out loud, I said, Iris, look, if you want to be in this video and you want your face to be shown, you need to help me find this photo because I know it's in here somewhere. I never found it, so I took it as a sign that we're not going to use her visage. We're not putting her face online. And so that's how it is. Send me some in a bank tube, exactly. Send me some strawberry shortcake in a bank tube. You can't run us off, is what someone said. I didn't see who said that. Yes, exactly, Audra. That's how I felt. As I looked and looked for it, and I continued looking, even after I knew I wasn't going to find it, I kept looking, and I thought, Roger, give it up. She doesn't want her face to be shown. And it isn't time. And perhaps it's not my business to share. Yeah, bank tubes. Strawberry shortcake in a bank tube. Which reminds me of someone sending me a birthday cake once in the mail. In 1984, for my 20th birthday, took a cake in one of those, you go to the bakery and they give you the cake, and they put the cake in that box. It's cardboard, not corrugated, but cardboard. It's usually pink, and they tape it shut. She took that birthday cake in that box to the post office and said, can I mail this? And they said yes. And they put a shipping label on that box, and she handed them the cake. She was also 20, not knowing any better. When I got the cake, I got the box, and it wasn't squished, but it was just cake smeared all around the inside of the box. When you opened the lid, it looked like you could scrape it off like it was putty. There was no cake. All of it was all around the inside of the box. It's like they put it in a, what's that thing called a centrifuge, where they spin something. That's what it looked like. So I've never forgotten somebody mailing me a cake. But exactly how sweet is exactly right. And since I was 20, I likely took a fork and scraped it off and ate it anyway. Because, when you're 20, you don't care, You get to this age, you're like, I think I dropped it on the counter. I'm not eating that. Yes, so I suggested in a post adding a birdhouse that looks like your home. It's funny you say that because I thought this morning about having a miniaturized version of this house created. Here's me in middle school. I took wood shop, mechanical drawing, and home economics. That tells you about who I am. I took those 3 courses together. I didn't do well in making stuffed animals and sewing a hymn. So I didn't do well. I think I did home ec thinking we were going to make cakes. And I don't even know if we made a cake. I can't remember. I just remember the sewing part that I couldn't stand. But in shop class, I couldn't make a birdhouse to save my life. I mean, I am measure once, cut twice. That's my philosophy, not measure twice, cut once. I'm not real good with wood. I can work with steel, I can work with electric, I can work with water and plumbing and all that stuff. But if you tell me to build something, I really have to slow myself down. So for me to build a house or even a birdhouse that looks like this house, it would be an epic project for me. Challenge, and maybe I'll do it. Create a garden that slows down the visitor. Oh, Audra, a famous man, yes. No, wait. Let's preface that with a TikTok famous man once said, create a garden that slows down the visitor. Yes. And that little quote was a result of watching another video someone else posted about, and it was saying that you had to, they weren't saying you had to, but they were suggesting that you invest in 30 shrubs and put them to create a focal point, or, a big expensive undertaking to make a focal point in your garden. And I thought, I want to do the antithesis of that, because my garden is that. My garden is really, it's not a garden you rush through. You got to slow down and look. And that's really what it's about. The devil, as they say, is in the details. There's a mailbox of up on here. I must have missed some comments. Exactly. That's right, Henry. Alex says, just bought a house and your garden has been a huge inspiration for what I want to create. Alex, that's fantastic. I think you guys have seen the video that I posted, that's what my page is about. It's about inspiration. I've gone through these phases as TikTok is built. And by the way, let's say yippee skippy, because I hit 100,000 followers just, 2 nights ago, or last night maybe. I'm already at 102 or something like that now, so it's booking along. But there's been these phases as I've gone along within TikTok. And you know what? I was going to make a point about that. There was a point for the inspiration in the garden. Oh, I know what it was. Here I go. Senior moment. I was accused of being self-aggrandizing. I went through that phase where it was all about me. It was the all about Rogers page, and that I was showing off, basically. I got a few of those comments. I went through a phase of that, probably when I got to about 12,000 followers. And I had to I did a lot of self-reflection during that period of time. Like, why am I doing this? What is this about? And it became clear to me that it's about inspiring people to do this. This stuff comes from the heart. This is just me doing what I feel, and this is what my fire is about. Maybe that's what I came to the planet to do. This is what I'm doing. If you think I'm special, yay. If you think I'm not special, yay. That's fine. It doesn't matter. But I think if you find inspiration, that's really what this is about, why I do the TikToks. And I'm doing these because I know that people can go buy a clock case themselves and go do this. They can make them themselves. Chipper sent me one for Easter that she made. So get inspired. That's what it's about. Fun fact, I learned that word. Groovy, what word did you learn? I missed it. Gay and May, you think I'm going to read that comment, Gay? Do you think that I'm going to read that comment? So let's talk about your dad. Your dad had a clock case, girly. Yeah, if it's empty, you should do it. I mean, I'm not advocating tearing clockworks out of clocks if it can be fixed. I wouldn't do that. Yeah. So please don't do that. So Gay asked me what happened to the beard, and Groovy wants to know the same. Here's what happened. Roger's not ready yet to have a Colonel Sanders beard, and I'm not ready to shave the beard off yet. So yeah, I did go back and put a little Crayola color in it. And I don't want to hear it. This is about me. No, it's not bold glamour. It's called I have Steven. I don't know if Steven's on here tonight. Steven is my very good friend and happens to be a hairdresser and a master colorist. And he is the one who advises. And we did talk about my white beard. And I told him I didn't like it. And so he suggested another type of color. And that's what we did. So thank you, Chipper. I did. It is, I did put it on there, but Steven's really good about making sure that the gray does come through a little bit so it doesn't look like, like I took, like this is not my beard color. This is not what I did, Do-dee-doo-dee-doo, We don't want that. It kind of has some highs and lows. The same with my hair. If I let this go, it is, I have gray patches. It looks like a skunk. I have a big gray spot here and brown hair over here, and it looks like a calico cat. And, I don't want to look like a calico cat. So, no. We're talking about the drapes. We're sticking with the drapes. Shum asked Shum what color he'd make your hair. I don't know if Shum's on here tonight. I don't think he is. You should know that we're going to tell you when you need to quit doing that. Yes, but I think you guys were very supportive when I let it go gray for a while. But, I tried. And I'm still thinking I can pull off this color. I still think I can do it. I'm not feeling too bad. And Steven is really good at this, and he would tell me for friggin' sure. And we're talking about Steven, the hairdresser. He would tell me for sure that, and he gets kind of outdone with me asking. So he's got me. He's got my back. My nose hairs are turning gray. Yeah, that is frightful, but you can always just pluck those out. You shouldn't even be seeing those anyhow. So if you've got gray ones, pull them out. I am way past pulling out gray hair. I would be bald. That's what would happen. But yeah, that's what's going on with the beard. It took a while for you guys to call it out. I did think about it when I was going live tonight. I thought, oh boy, maybe I should get some dish soap and start washing this out so I don't get talked to. But thank you for supporting me on that. I think it looks better with a little bit of color in it, because I'm still there. I'm not feeling my white beard. Got it. Yes, Henry. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for that. See, and I think it's good to look younger. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with being older. Absolutely nothing. I mean, why would I say there's something wrong with it? I'm getting older, and that's just the way it is. I'm not fighting it. I'm just saying that this feels more like how I feel inside. The white was I was having some dissonance with that. Groovy said I don't look a day over 59. Thank you. And see, that means I'm younger because I'm 60. So I do look younger, don't I? Thank you. You'll change your hair. Your hair is really pretty. You've got beautiful hair. I think your hair is basically all one color. You don't have my hair is patchy still. It hasn't decided what it wants to be yet. So Little B, you have gray hair also. So Henry says I didn't shave for 5 days last week, and on day 6 I scared myself. Yeah, I have to make sure I shave my neck for sure, because this gets really gross. That's where most of all this happens, is down here. So you've had gray for 40 years. Okay. Have you seen these TikToks on here, Chicky, of these, there's a colorist guy on here who does these makeovers of women. He cuts their hair, or they have gray hair, but then he just does the color where it's, blends it all together. He does these amazing, amazing jobs. Yeah, so $300. I'm not surprised. Yeah, that's Steven at the salon. Yeah, it's not economical to be maintaining, but I've seen some of the stuff they do online, and it's pretty amazing looking. It makes a huge difference for sure. Yeah, Groovy, I'm glad you found yourself. Yeah, Gay said she could do her own. Okay, yeah, you can. I do my own too. I do my own beard. Thank you. Gay said, anyway, you look good. Thank you for that. Yeah, and not that that's what this is about, but thank you for saying that. It's very kind of you. So Chicky is nearly 80. So you are in your 70s. Wow. So you're ahead of me by a little bit. So getting close to the 80. Amazing. Yeah. I think about that myself. I'm still a few years away from that. But neither one of my parents, my mom only made it to 63, and my dad made it to 75. So that's what I'm saying about building the water feature in the backyard, is that I am going to do it now. So 37742 is asking what are the boxes. That's what this is about. We're in part 3 of converting these clock cases into miniature worlds. These are finished. This is number 1, number 2, and this is number 3 we're working on. If you're interested, I do these lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We've already covered this tonight. We're kind of wrapping up here because it's about an hour-long live, and so we've been talking about this, but we are putting this together for our final figure. This is part 3? Yeah, this is part 3 of the process, but Thursday night I'll be back on here for part 4, and so you can tune back in if you'd like. Follow me. Show up 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Jane Cashin said that you're an inspiration. Thank you for that. That's very kind. I'm glad people are inspired about the garden. And as soon as we get this thing done and the cupola has been installed and we've got a window on the front and the lights are blaring, we are done at this craft table for a little bit. We're going to head outside. We are absolutely going to get outside because things are getting really pretty out there. Guys, once again, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate this group. I don't know what this magic is that we share here as a group, what we call the crew, and we all know each other's names and we have our conversations. You guys have them yourselves. You have them with each other. It doesn't have anything to do with me. Whatever it is we brought together, I am so glad to know you. What I do know of you in this two-dimensional world, you have enriched my life. You have no idea that you're important to me, each one of you and your names. I know that I'm experiencing you guys in a two-dimensional world, but it's just a surprising thing. And I think we're all kind of being spiritually fed somehow by this relationship. So I appreciate your support. And I'm so glad that when I turn on this phone and I have all this anxiety about turning this thing on and standing right in this very spot on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, that you're going to show up and be supportive like this. So Little B, thank you for that. We love you too. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I will see you Thursday night, 7 p.m. right here in this very place, okay? Take care. Have a good evening.